Well, good day and welcome to another segment of Fly Fishing Pass It On. Today we're going to be talking about reading the water in lakes. Lakes are very intimidating. I know a lot of anglers that have fished rivers and streams their whole life. They basically don't do any stillwater fishing, lake fishing at all. They are kind of very much out of their element. And most of it comes from just being able to read the water. Where do we begin to fish? We see such a large, vast body of water, and there's no seams, no structure to look at that's visible. So what we must do is visualize the bottom of the lake. My first, there's a few ways to identify this, and the easiest way, or the way that we've been doing it for years, is look at the surrounding topography. If there's a cliff, it's going to be a drop off in the water. Of course, if it's going to be a nice shallow slope coming into the lake, it's going to be a nice shoal. So there you're going to have to kind of start visualizing. As you see the different topographies, you're going to see some points and some channels, or there's a dam going through, maybe there's a channel running through the lake, a creek or river going through it, or what have you. That's all holding water. Anytime you've got a shallow water and a drop off, those are very good because they have everything the fish really want: is food, shelter, and temperature. You got a place to hide, you got a place to eat, and a place to sleep where it's comfortable. So you got pretty much everything right there. So I would say that would be my prime location where I'd start fishing. Then you're going to start probing the lake and seeing what depth the fish may be holding. But we know there's going to be fish that's pretty much got everything they're looking for right there. The easiest way, of course, is to have a depth sounder on your boat. And you can get those with side finders on. You can mark right to the shoreline with them, because a lot of times you won't see the fish directly under your boat, because a lot of the fish are feeding close to the shoreline where a lot of the food is, of course, and along the weed beds and that type of thing. So the sounders, the real deep sounders, of course, more when you're looking at trolling boats and so forth that are trolling in deep water, those sounders, the transducers, the cones really work well in that situation. These lower lakes, not so much. So reading the water is really a key element. Also, another good option is if you can get those bathymetric maps where you have the contours, the maps all drawn out with contour. You can find those online a lot of times from different lakes, and maybe the lakes you're going to be fishing will have them online, and print that off, and there's a good start. You can start looking at the structure, like say where you want those breaks and those drop-offs and so forth, and also the shallows. There's going to be times of the day they're going to be just right in the shallows, and you're going to have low light conditions, or the hatch is going on. Big hatch, that'll bring them out of the bedroom where they're sleeping down in the lake, where they're a little bit cooler or comfortable. They'll come out to eat. They have to come out to eat. So remember, the light will only penetrate so deep as well. So fish, there's not a lot of food down there, a lot of depths, unless you're fishing very clear lakes, very pristine lakes. Sometimes then there's, food could be down 30 feet, 40 feet. Typically in more of the lower, shallower lakes, you're going to see, the light penetration kind of 10 or 12 feet. So the food sources are quite important. The hatches are important to know before you come to your body of water. Your lake may be more of a shrimp lake or damsels. They're going to have a variety of insect life, but some lakes have a characteristic where they may be a lot of bait fish in there. Sometimes they're stocked in there to get rid of some of the coarse fish, and they'll have like blackwater trout or something in there that like eating bait fish, and so that changes up your game considerably. So you kind of know your target, what your food source is too, so then you have an idea what kind of a surroundings that food source likes to be in, and what their habitat is too. So that's all part of it. So we want to make sure the most important thing is finding the fish in the zone. So if we know they're in 8 feet water, then I'd be using a type 3 line. Gets down 3 inches per second. And when I'm using sinking lines, full sink lines, I want it density compensated, means it sinks evenly. Otherwise, some of these other lines that aren't, they have a belly in them. So the fly, they can be biting or eating the fly. If they don't, set the hook themselves, you won't feel it. So if you have a density compensated line, you're going to feel the bite right on the end, right from your rod tip. You'll be connected right to that fly. Very, very crucial. And if you're going to be into the stillwater scene, make sure you get density compensated sinking lines. When I would buy sinking lines, I would go, my favorite is a clear intermediate, or you can use just an intermediate, which is 1 or 1.5 inches per second is the depth, the depth it travels in it per second. Type 3 is 3 inches per second, 5 is 5 inches per second, and the 7s or 8 are, then you're down the bottom 30, 40 feet. And you can deep line chironomids or whatever you want with something like that, or fish dragging nymphs down the bottom, boobies, whatever you can. So you're gonna be able to open up and kind of start putting the piece of the puzzle together yourself, because each and every day the weather's gonna be different. The hatch could be on or off, so be very mindful of what you're doing. Look at the slope, structure, temperature, food, and put it all together yourself. Sometimes we get sucker punched by seeing a bunch of boats down in the corner of the lake or whatever else, and say, boy, that's where it's all happening. Well, that's where all the, there's a guy down there, maybe caught 1 or 2, and everybody just went down and have a chat and have a visit with him, because if there's one, there's got to be more. But be mindful of, maybe that looks like about 6 or 8 feet of water, or 12 feet, or whatever your guess might be by looking at the topography. Then find another spot in the lake that's similar and go down there all by yourself and catch all them all day long. So do your own thing. Be aware and put those pieces of the puzzle together, and you're going to be a much better angler in a hurry. Don't just follow the leader around the lake. That's kind of a game that doesn't bear fruit all the time. So appreciate you tuning in today, and I hope reading the water will help you out a little bit on finding these fish in lakes. Like I say, there's probably half the lake that won't be holding fish, so you're going to have to start working it down where the hot spots are, and work those areas quite hard. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again real soon.
For watching Brent's fly fishing instructional series. He can be found on Brent's YouTube channel and Sport Fishing on the Fly.